Hi, everybody. You're watching the Thriving After Divorce free online summit, where you can learn how to powerfully reclaim your life and turn your breakup into your breakthrough. I'm Tanya Marie Dubé, and thank you so much for watching. Today, we are with Dr. Ray Doktor, also known as Dr. Ray, who has a master's degree in psychology, a doctorate in clinical psychology, and who has conducted workshops and lectures in the United States, the Netherlands, and Brazil. He teaches his clients how to design their personal breakthroughs so that they experience more love, higher trust, greater confidence, and deeper purpose. He's appeared on the E! Channel and HBO, and he shared a stage with Marianne Williamson, Bruce Lipton, Eckhart Tolle, and John Gray. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Every time people read my bio, I just kind of laugh. I don't know why.
Because you're hearing your life on paper, right?
Well, it's just a whole, it's like, I don't know. I just think with, the doctorate and this and whatever, it's like now in introspect, I just kind of crack up about that whole thing. It's like this label, you know what I mean?
These are massive accomplishments. Oh my gosh. Having a master's degree and a doctorate, that's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. It was quite an experience to get there. In fact, talking about that is that when I went back to school, it was my late 20s, and it was when I was in my master's program. That's when there was this friction with my relationship with my ex-wife now. And so, here we're talking about that, and it's funny, in that program they say that there's at least, like, I don't know, like a good 10% of the students where they end their relationships, like marriages.
Wow.
Because they kind of are going through this process of discovery. So, people like ask, what did you learn? I'm like, I learned a lot about my own life. It wasn't really what I learned in school. It was just kind of the unfoldment of myself.
Isn't that something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And the time that it takes to a doctorate, getting your doctorate is a really big deal, and it takes a lot of your time, doesn't it?
It does take a lot of your time.
Yeah.
Too much of your time. To know what I know now, it's like, oh, all right. All the time people ask me, I get emails all the time, like, I want to get licensed, I want to do this and that. I said, what do you really want to do? What do you really want to do? And I said that the information is available for you. There's so many things you can do besides taking this path.
Yeah.
So I actually discourage people. Not in a negative way, but I say that you have so many choices. I said that what you've come to believe that what it takes to be successful is not this path. There's options.
Wow.
I didn't have that. I didn't have a mentor at the time. I didn't know this.
Wow. Can I tell you that with the summit that I'm doing right now, specifically for women who are going through a divorce, I've had so many people come to me, tell me that they think this is the ticket for them to just go right for the divorce. And I do the same thing that you do. I need women to really stop, and men as well, to stop and really think about what it is that you want. And I say the exact same thing that you just said about going through your doctorate. What is it that you really want? Because sometimes you can fix the relationship, and it'll take a lot, it'll be a lot less painful if you know for sure you're making the right decision one way or the other. That's funny. I discourage people from jumping right into a divorce too, 100%.
Well, I feel that most people, when they're in that process, just by asking them a few questions, by going a little deeper, you find out that there you are. There's your stuff. There's your shit that's coming up.
Yeah.
It isn't. People ask, like, when is enough enough? And I say that when you can love that person exactly how she is or how he is, and from that perspective in your heart, in that feeling base, with no, like, I'm trying to avoid this, but I think I'm on a different path now. I think I desire something different, and I don't want him or her to change.
Right.
And from there, it's probably the healthiest place to where you can say, you know what, it's just not that something's wrong, is that something's right with me, and I'm feeling different now. And there's another perfect person for you right now, for your partner. You know what I mean? It's where you realize that this person is beautiful as he is. Yeah.
I came to that conclusion towards the end of my relationship too, that there's something bigger and better for the two of us separately. But if we could still stay friends, we have the co-parenting thing and everything. I mean, that's the goal. That's the end of this of this journey specifically with him. But yeah, that's interesting. We do the same thing.
Yeah, so it's cool. Tanya and I actually, we have some questions here, but we're just kind of going for it right now. But
okay, let's jump into them. Yeah. Okay.
Well, back to what you just said about the divorce thing. So I am divorced. This happened a while ago, like over 10 years ago. And we had separated for about 10 months. And in that process, she became a different person. I did too. And I did a lot of healing, and a lot of it had to do around relationships and my mother. And when we got back together, I didn't have that same attraction as far as like the unconscious attraction that kind of plays out those dynamics.
Hmm.
And I still remember it was like New Year's Eve, and I wanted to go out with her, and she gave me an excuse that she wasn't feeling well or whatever, and not a big deal, okay, whatever. And I went out, and I I wanted to be with her still. So around 12:30, I came back home, and it was her male friend that was there, and they're watching the movie Hero, which is like a 3-hour movie. And I came and I looked at her, and there was this awkwardness of both of them, and I can tell that he was interested in her, and there was that energy, and they stayed up to watch the whole movie, even though I came home. And there was she wasn't really just like reading me, and I also just didn't say anything. I just figured, if it's for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. And the following morning, I communicated that, and just the way her response was just very disconnected, and it was disconnected with how it had been. And it was in that moment I was like, I just don't think we're aligned. And
No.
it wasn't a place of anger. It was just complete acceptance. And then like 1 month later, we moved out, and we kind of went our own ways, and just life has just become very beautiful. But it was through that process of that 10 months of separating, not suggesting that people separate, but it was where I just healed that energy, that attraction. So when we got back together, it lasted like another 8 to 9 months or something.
Wow.
We went our own ways. What was interesting is that we met for like, I think 3 to 6 months later, we went to like Starbucks. Sorry, coffee bean drinkers. I mean, but we went to Starbucks, and I like coffee bean better actually. But anyway, we were there, and her and I were looking at each other, and we started crying. And it was
Oh,
because we felt as though our cycle had come to some completion. I mean,
yeah.
karmically, energetically, like it was as when we had first met as lovers. There was no energy there. It was like, there you are as a beautiful person. We were done. And that was it.
Wow, that's incredible. And I have to say that I like specifically that both of you understood that it was coming to an end, or that it had come to an end, and you didn't force it. A lot of people force it, and we stay in these relationships that we shouldn't be in for too long, simply because we think we've invested so much time. It's worth it for that reason, but we forget that we change and we grow, and as we develop, sometimes we split apart that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Funny you say it, because she was my wife, and because I had a history with her, I try to force a friendship in a way. And
Yeah.
we hung out a few times. We haven't spoken now in 10 years.
Wow.
Meaning that like we tried to force it, and the friendship didn't work.
Oh,
And
well,
so that's okay. But
that's okay.
that example of that is okay. Nothing
Yeah.
people would ask me, have you heard from Christelle lately? And when I'm like, no, I said, we're okay. I don't feel like there's anything missing. And when I had a child, I heard that she had a child, there was that part of me thinking, I'd like I have a child now. And
Oh, yeah.
nothing came through that exchange. I realized that's just like human ideas of
Yeah.
how it should be.
Yeah.
But how it should be is how you feel the joy and can continue to follow your bliss.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I might never see her again. I might never bump in. And if I bump into her again, it's not because I'm supposed to have a relationship. It might be that I'm supposed to let that go, or say something, or heal. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything. You know what I mean? I notice that sometimes we keep bumping into the same people because we have the story. I have to heal something. There's some conclusion, and that
Mhm.
strong emotional energy brings that person back into your experience. But it doesn't mean that there's anything resolved. It's supposed to basically be able to look at that person and say, I love you, I forgive you, thank you, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's it. And, I've come to the conclusion in the last couple of years of my life that, honestly, I don't think that any of our experiences that happen to us, they're not there to hurt us. They're there to teach us. So if we can look at our experiences that way and stop feeling victimized by loss or by regret or anything like that, then we start to see the empowerment. We can get on top of that and get in front of it. When you
Look at
just
it as
said,
change. Look at it as change. It's just
yeah,
change. What
and
you just
change
said.
is good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some questions for you. Should I get?
Let's go for it.
Okay, so I wanted to know, what are the biggest mistakes that newly divorced women make?
So they talk about what had happened to the new people they're meeting. They talk to other people about what had happened. And what that does is that your brain doesn't discern time, space, or reality. So that means that you're hardwiring what you don't want over and over again. And with that, your body doesn't know what you want. Therefore, you'll recreate that, you'll attract that. You might find yourself dating your husband 5 more times just with a different name, your ex-husband.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. Two is that you're putting more energy into what you want to avoid. So in that, remember that if you're not open and set up in a way to where you can experience someone as they are, your dates might feel crappy because you're not really there. You're still with what had happened. And then 3 is that if you're still focused on what had happened or what you're trying to avoid, you're not even clear with what you want now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. There's this little process I do with clients when we go through kind of a healing phase, and then there's it's a technique I call it energetic matching. If you go on YouTube, you might be able to find it. I'm just kidding. It might be there. But
Okay.
it's where you go through the 4 what I think most important things that you want to look at when you attract a partner. And of course, now ladies are going, what is that? So usually I leave teasers and I just don't say anything else. I'm not going to do that to torture you.
Yeah, don't do that.
And you're now going, come on, get to it. So it's like I have them focus on the sexual area, which is to connect to their own sexuality, and if it's closed or open, because I know that most women typically want to have a sexual relationship and someone who wants to claim them and have that energy. So if there's blocks there, that they need to heal that within themselves to elicit that. They want that passion. Really important to understand this is because I think people think, well, can a good friend become someone I date? Or what if you just start off as friends at first? Here's the thing is that when it comes to men, both men and women, but especially men, think of a key entering a lock. And I'm not talking about the penis and the vagina. I'm talking just like metaphorically speaking, literally like a key going to a lock.
Mm-hmm.
You have the little hook at the first notch that goes into the lock. If that doesn't fit, the rest will not go in. Think of your sexuality being the first notch.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have that. That's what is different between someone you're going to be intimate with and someone's just going to be a friend.
Yeah.
You want to have that from the beginning, by the way.
Yeah.
So, because that's what creates that guy who wants to buy you flowers, the guy who's passionate about you, the guy who will drive you to LAX during traffic hours. If there's that energy there, no, it's not about your vagina. It's not all about sexuality, but it is the energy that elicits that in a man to want to try.
Right.
So you want to have that. So we look at that sexual energy, your heart, which is how comfortable you with sharing and being open. How available are you? And so with a man, if you want to attract an available man, he will be your equivalent to that, to be able to, when you share, hold space for you. If you can't hold space for yourself, how do you expect him to be?
Right.
Clarity, which is the next energetic vortex, is there has to be a level of clarity. So you might be watching, you're back east, okay? Yeah. So if you're single and some hot guy is in California, he's saying all the right things, but the reality is that, does it fit your lifestyle? No. Seeing him twice a month, is that what you really want? No. Yeah. Your feelings, your idea of him you might have this rush of energy in your body, but you have to get to a place of clarity. Clarity, yes. There's one thing if it feels good, but what's the real story? So clarity, and then the last one, the spirituality or crown chakra, or just how open you are to just life. And the thing is that if if you're kind of in this third dimensional reality of cause and effect, and you just basically think that this is all you get, then there's going to be a ceiling to like what you can attract. I think that most women want the relationship to continue to expand, to be open, to where there's this growth. And with this awareness here, this being open, you practicing your practices, whatever ritual that might be. It might be walking your dog, it might be doing yoga, it might be just taking a walk, it might be connecting to your garden, whatever. If you don't have some sense of self beyond what's happening in your life, then that you are always going to hit walls, because your life is going to be based on what's working, what's not, what's tangible. But I know women who are connected to this openness here is that they have this radiance, this energy. And we men want to experience that. We want to play in that. Women who are caught up in their jobs and what's happening, the stress, you're not that attractive, honestly. I'm not saying it in a negative way. It's not about how you look physically.
Yeah.
Your light is closed down.
I feel the same with men. When I meet men who are closed down, and you can feel it off of them. There's it's not the openness that I seek. Yeah.
Yes, we're attracted to people's light. So this brings in light. So those are the four. It's basically sexual energy, emotions, clarity, spirit.
Wow. I love that. How do you practice your openness? What do you do?
I first do a rampage of gratitude in the morning, about like just having right now I'm by the ocean. I can smell the ocean breeze.
Wow.
It could be just being happy that my ear is here and I have this technology to talk to you. It's just awareness to all things. I have my affirmations. I have a vision board. And then sometimes it's also just connecting to something that's really funny. Like if I'm in a hurry, I mean, put on some George Carlin or something. I don't know. It's connecting to joy, because joy connects you to other thoughts that are connected to what you want.
Yeah, it's true, right? What you think about, you bring about, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question for you. I've only got a few that you already know I'm going to ask you. How are the ways that you feel women could heal deeper wounds so that they're not carrying old baggage into new experiences?
So sit with emotions and pain without judgments, means not attaching ideas that this happened because he did this, or I could have fixed it because if he would do this and that. It's basically being able to say, even like, George is an asshole because he doesn't seem really interested in me. But that's a belief. That doesn't mean that there's truth with that. But it's sitting with that and even asking yourself, is this true? In fact, I pulled this book out. It's a simple. I'm not promoting Byron Katie, but I was at one of her. She was doing like a book promotion. This is not her book that she's promoting, but you go Byron Katie.
Oh yeah.
There's this like little pamphlet she had sitting out, and it's just basically inquiring these 4 questions.
Okay.
You have something come up. She even has exercises. It's you can like Google and just do this little process. Okay. Sit with whatever you're blaming or what you're feeling. Is it true? And if you feel it's true, go to question 2. Can you absolutely know that this is true? 99.9% of the time, it's not going to be true.
Yeah.
Then 3, how do you react? What happens when you believe this thought? Meaning that I judge, I feel crappy, my breath becomes short, or whatever.
How are your shoulders? Where's your body? Where's your focus?
Yeah. The number 4, who would you be without that thought? Open, free. And so you just go through this process. Then you do a turnaround, and it might be where you reverse it. It might be George he's an asshole because he doesn't pay attention to me. The turnaround might be this: I'm not paying attention to myself, and I make George's business about mine. It might be where that you say that he just seems he's just really too busy. You might turn around and go, maybe I'm not busy enough. In fact, that's why I'm making his business my business. There's ways of turning things around. So that's a little simple process. I have to pick up the work by Byron Katie. If this
Oh,
is
word.
resonating with you and you want to kind of find a simple process of kind of just asking yourself these questions.
Wow, I love that. Actually, I will find that.
Mhm.
That pamphlet that you have, did you say that you can find that online?
This was $1.
Oh.
I bought recently. I bought 40 of them because I have my own process.
Oh.
Even the free giveaway that we're going to talk about shortly
Hmm.
is that there's my own process also that helps you kind of get into like these, because it's your mind that it just takes you other places that's not reality.
Yeah, it's true. I've had so many conversations with experts on the summit about our minds and how we are not our minds, and our thoughts that we have, we are not those thoughts. And
Hmm.
to try to differentiate between, the 50,000 random thoughts that are going through your head every day, and you don't believe everything you see or you hear. So why would you get stuck on certain things that are not true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a woman who kind of challenged, they call her Katie, they don't call her Byron. And she said, well, there's a lot of crap happening on this planet. She says, just like, for example, what if, uh, you know, North Korea like launched a bomb right now?
Yeah.
And, like, we can't say that, oh, that's an illusion or that's not reality. And then Katie answered and she said, well, how do you really know that they launched a bomb right now? Like, even if they said it, if it were on the news, how do you really know in this very now moment? And in this now moment, are you okay? Like, you're with foreign people who all love you.
Mm.
Are you okay? And she's like, in this now moment, and if you didn't know the bomb was launched, would you feel okay? Because
Yeah.
you wouldn't know. Because when a bomb hits, we're all gonna be gone. We
Yeah.
didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in heaven, whatever. We don't know. But in the 10 minutes you have to live, are you in this now moment in your body okay?
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens? And the answer is yes, I guess
Yeah.
I am. Well, what about, and then you can go to thinking about what's going to happen to my family. Oh my God, you can go to like, oh my God, I didn't live out my life. You can go into this worry and,
Mhm.
and traumatize yourself that for those 10 minutes. But if you know you're okay in this moment, meaning that there's nothing you can do, you accept reality. What
Mhm.
is the natural human tendency, which Katie brought up, was that you would look to another person who's having difficulty and hold space for him or her. Are you okay? I'm
Yeah.
right here. I love you. Meaning that when we get out of what's going to possibly happen, we get out of the drama. It's where the human spirit shows up. And what we want to do is offer love and help to others. We're not in
Mhm.
this, because the ego is want you to get stuck with an idea of what could happen or what's still happening,
Mhm.
to perpetuate that, oh my God, we're going to die. What's going to happen to my child? All these things. Yes, there could be some concerns there, but there's nothing you can do in that moment about that right now.
Mhm.
So how do you want to be? Worrying and make it all about you, or offering your heart and love to others who are stuck in that cycle?
Yeah, right. That's a really good point. That brings me to something that I always say is when you're going through something really, really painful, something very difficult, turn to somebody who needs help. Put your focus on another human being, because that's the most empowering, liberating thing that you can do to heal your heart, your soul. Absolutely. Hmm.
This is actually a pretty good interview. This is honestly, I've done a lot of summits. This is probably one of my better ones. Not
Huh.
to say other ones have sucked,
No.
but I'm saying that you're taking us some places. You're really like, yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
So I'm not validating you, but I'm going, this is cool. I'm having a good, I live these conversations.
Oh, that's awesome. Me too. Can I tell you a story of something that happened to me?
Yeah.
Where,
No.
where, where I realized 100% that taking care of somebody else in a moment is important. In 2005, I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter, and I was living in England, and I had just narrowly missed one of the trains that blew up underground on the day of the bombings. And I narrowly missed that train. It literally flew right past me as I got to the platform. So I got on the next train. The next train is where I heard the explosion underground of the train in front of me. And we were all told to go up above ground. In that moment, I was told to choose a random bus going in that direction, because that's where I had to go. So I literally, 6 months pregnant, looking like I was carrying twins, I was looking for the bus with some space. So the bus I chose ended up being the one right in front of the bus that blew up. So the bus that blew up was 20 feet behind me. And that bus was one of the buses that I could have chose from. So my point to the story is, the reason I'm telling you this is when the mayhem happened, the bomb went off, people were screaming all over the place. I had to wait until everyone left the bus. And a random woman came back for me and grabbed me, pulled me around the corner into this church safe house, closed the door behind me. I've never seen her again. I don't even know who she was. And in this house was two elderly people who were, it was a safe house. So they had like things of water, tons of water, a little bit of extra food. But I just remembered in that moment, there was a woman in the house who was screaming like crazy, screaming. And 2 days before that, or 3 days before that, I had just seen a National Geographic video documentary about people in extremely stressful situations, crazy trauma. If they're pregnant, you can put yourself into labor. And so they were saying, whatever you do, find something to focus on that needs your attention. So this is what I did. I was panicking and freaking out, but I turned to this woman who was screaming, and all I did was focus on her. And it was about calming her down and getting her centered and finding her breath and bringing her back to reality. In that moment of doing that work, I mean, the whole thing changed for me. I was no longer afraid in the way that I was when I got there. But then I took that with me for years. And this has been a part of my practice. And when I'm dealing with clients and coaching people, I always tell them, there's just so much compassion and empathy inside of us naturally, that when you're going through something, put the focus on somebody who needs you. And they're everywhere. They're all around you.
This is amazing. It's really amazing you're sharing this. Yeah, it's just wow. I hope you share this. I hope you write about that, because that's it. It's also, I don't want to take this conversation somewhere else, but it's kind of like you're talking about that impulse through spirit to be guided. You were guided. You trusted that, and that's a big part we're going to talk about is this. Like, I know the questions she's going to be asking me, by the way.
Yeah, we already established this.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was going to say, but now I have a beautiful segue.
Oh, good. Would you like me to ask you the next question? Are you ready?
So it has nothing to do. I'm controlling. I just gave her tears, because when I do these summits, sometimes we go off on these tangents, which are fine, but sometimes there's no guidance. So I just kind of come up with some questions.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love your questions. I didn't change them at all. Okay, so the next thing, which is a great question that I think women would love to know, is when would a woman know that she's ready to open herself up to a new relationship? Because I do think, I will add my thoughts to this really quickly, we feel it's so funny what happens to you after divorce as a woman. And I can't speak for men going through the same emotional wave I've sort of been on, but you go through these moments of being totally ready and then freaking out, and then feeling ready again. So when do you know the ready that you feel is the right ready?
So it's when she doesn't have an emotional charge regarding what had happened with her ex. Like, she feels with some type of sense of peace. And the other one is, which ties into what I was talking to, or you were talking about, and that is when she ultimately trusts herself, and she knows that she can co-create regardless of how things unfold. So he shows up, and his profile picture is completely different, and it's not where her going, oh my God, I can't trust men, and he's a fraud. But Lord, this is interesting, this is entertaining. He used his college picture, but I'm just saying that it's just where you know that you're the creator, just like when you were when you almost got on that train, or you chose a different bus. So it's there's this ultimate trust that I teach women, when I work with them. Like, people come to me, yes, to help them with relationships, but ultimately it's trust. And when you have this trust about yourself, you just seem to attract the right people, not just men, it's just everyone, the right life choices. And so the more you're opened up, I told you about this with your practices, and Tanya talked about her experience when she was pregnant, is that this becomes kind of your guide. It's not about reading the right books or listening to the right coaches or wearing the right dress and using any forms of third dimensional manipulation. It's about trust in something much bigger than all of this, and you just things align with you.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's kind of like it's not like you're trying to get it right. It's that you're enjoying the unfoldment, and that from what had happened, if it's seen as something negative, you learn from that, and then you know you can trust that, and then you move on. It's just that, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't hold on to ideas too. Another thing that I notice with women who are going through this that I've helped, is that sometimes we have a problem holding on to the idea of something and not the reality of what it actually was. You know, the dreams that we have for one another when we get married and we have a life together, all of that goes away, but it's easy to hold on to what you thought might have been. It's not good to do that. No, never,
Cool.
never good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Lastly, so there's two more things that we're going to talk about. I have one more question for you, and then we're going to talk about your free gift. Yeah.
Okay.
So the last question is, what are your tips that you would give us on how we can keep ourselves aligned on our new journey as we're meeting new people and we're moving into our new selves?
So one is, do not make the joy about the other person. That just remember, you are creating this. You know, if you could be depressed and meet the most amazing guy, and you still have a depressed experience. So it's just like your joy. Your joy is about you. It's within yourself, and he's a reflection. And hopefully he's a joyful guy also. But it's about, you know, you have this great experience. You talk about what he did and this and that. That's fun. I understand that's fun to gossip and whatever, but you still are creating joy. You know, just know that to not lose your power, that you are participating in that. Two is to check in with your body with what's happening, meaning that you might have 3 great dates, and then it just, the next 4th, 5th, 6th, you're getting home, you think it's kind of going crappy, and you keep talking about what it was, how it was. And so, in other words, you're creating this kind of fantasy how it was, versus that this is kind of the unfoldment. So check in with yourself. It's like, this is something I noticed with what women could do, men too, but I see it more with women, is that they'll base what's happening in a relationship by how they feel. So in other words, it could be both negative and positive. It could be where, because he doesn't reach out to you, you think that he's not interested. You feel this, and then someone asks, how's the relationship going? I don't know if it's going really well, because you feel bad, but it has nothing to do with the reality of how he's participating. He might have lost his phone. But also this, it might be, how's the relationship going? It's going really good, you know, but this. And it's just because you had a good time with him, and you keep focusing on that, and because how that fantasy is literally like creating a chemical response, it's not reality. It's just like it's changing, which is okay. Check in with your, you know, have clarity, check in with your mind, check in with your girlfriends. In other words, what I mean by that, and I know that typically these are generalizations, that other women don't want to make other women feel bad, and so they might not want to give their honest feedback, like, yeah, like Joe is a jerk, or I think he's hurting you, or whatever. But there's another way to have girlfriends where you can say, I am newly dating, and I just want you to listen to my heart and how I'm talking. And if you feel as though that I am kind of walking off my path, let me know. Tell me that, you know, that maybe I haven't been as joyful. In other words, you might say he just lost his job, and you're stuck in him feeling bad about himself. And 6 months goes by, and every time your girlfriend sees you sad, you think it's an isolated experience of like he's going through something. But because your empathy, for 6 months, you haven't hung out with your girlfriends, you appear as being depressed. Don't drown on a Titanic with him.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like checking in with your body. I mean, I've seen women with men for 5-10 years, and they keep saying he's not ready. And they've been saying the same thing, and now they're older and they're not able to have children.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's just really checking your body. How does this really feel? And connecting with the clarity. Is this what I want? And having girlfriends where you have an authentic relationship with, where they know you trust what they have to say, and they're saying, you know, you seem to not be feeling happy. You just, we notice that you don't seem happy. That could be really great feedback from a woman's perspective. I notice that women don't typically do that unless you create that. With men, you can, like, at least with the men I know are masculine men, like, we give feedback like, dude, you're fucking up. Thank you for letting me know that. Dude, you're getting fat. You're right, dude. I've been lazy. And we're like, great, thank you. My feelings don't get hurt with that. We want to self-correct. That's why you'll have, if you've been in a relationship with a man, he's like, just tell me what I did wrong. You're like, but you didn't do anything wrong. What he's wanting is feedback so he can self-correct, so he doesn't do that. He doesn't step on your feet again. But I know typically it's not maybe part of your nature to go, well, Bob, you know, if you'd only blah, 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 blah. It's not that we're asking for a masculine response. Is that we just want some type of feedback so we don't keep blowing it. Yeah. You might not see it as if we're blowing it, but obviously how we're being is affecting you in a certain way.
Then you feel.
Yeah, and as a woman, if you know, with female friends, how you feel is affecting your female friends. I think it's important with women, high quality women, to start learning the communication where you both are able to sit there and give, like, you know, when you feel this way, Barbara, like, you know, I feel this way. Yeah. I'm affected this way and I want you to be happy. And nothing's wrong. It's just you're mirroring off each other of like what's maybe going on in your body to help each other align to joy and love and openness, which this is all what this is all about.
Yeah. And I like that too, actually, because it creates a deeper bond between women, between us and our friends as well. When we can be that authentic without getting our feelings hurt in the spirit of growth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Now, lastly, let's talk about your free gift. I love your free gift. So it's called the Relationship Blueprint. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's a simple book that you can get through that actually gets into your relationship blueprints of how you create your circumstances, like how you've come to be, things that you maybe have never even thought about. For example, if your mother were pregnant and she were always worried about her appearance and that she was getting fat, and how your father thought about her, believe it or not, your unconscious mind is recording that. So here you're younger, and at a very early age, you're very self-conscious about how you look. There's a possible chance that there was some impression in there that was not originally yours. It starts from that. It's very simple and it's a group call I did with a bunch of women. Like, it was a series, and where a woman goes through her own process. And in that, you have the opportunity to go through the exercises and to kind of discover your relationship blueprint to even money, to success, to your health, whatever else it is. That most of what you've come to know about yourself is not even you.
Yeah. So creating, I know, that's crazy, right? I was reading about that the other day. So breaking old patterns so that you can stop making the same mistakes and move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for this interview today. This was so great to meet you like this.
Thank you. It was great meeting you also. And I hope to get a copy of this interview because it was one of the ones where I'm like, some good stuff here.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody watching, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.